In this demonstration, we'll take a look at the retail order fulfillment and distributed order management capabilities of Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Retail order fulfillment is a set of POS operations that allow a store to manage customer orders. You have separate operations to support segregation of duties. For example, you could have employees that are only allowed to ship orders but not perform any customer-facing transactions. A customer order is a 365 order with some extensions to tie it to a retail channel. So it could be a brick and mortar channel. So this would be an order coming in created from the point of sale. It could be a call center order. So these are orders created in 365 through the call center forms. And it could be an order from an online store. Microsoft gives you APIs to integrate 365 with a third-party commerce site. And then you can bring orders into the system on behalf of one of these channels through the data management framework. There's not a out-of-the-box entity right now, but I can show you how to create one. Distributed order management is an order broker. So distributed order management takes a look at your retail orders, the distance to the shipping location, global on hand, and then rules that you've created regarding priorities and minimums and partial fills, and comes up with a fulfillment plan. The fulfillment plan essentially just changes the warehouse on the order to the location that Dom thinks is the best location to fulfill that order. That could be a retail location, and it could also just go to your whatever warehouse management process you've got. In future releases, you'll have cost factors, and you know, an example of how a cost factor could be used would be where the customer hasn't locked in their delivery method, and the ship date is really the priority. So DOM may look at your cost factors and then change the method of delivery to a method of delivery that's cheaper, as long as the ship date and the customer gets the product on time. So here's a slide from Microsoft Docs on how DOM will broker the order. If you want more detail, you could go to Microsoft Docs and take a look at it. So let's get to the demonstration. We'll take a look at buy online and pick up in store, and then we'll look at buy in store, and DOM will route the order to the closest store for shipping. We won't take a look at buy in store and pick up another store, or buy online and DOM route to ship from distribution center, because it's basically the same as these first two. It's just orders coming in from different channels and being fulfilled from different locations. But the setup and the processing around these is exactly the same as these two. The theme here is that when you're doing retail order fulfillment, you are relying on DOM to manage where orders ship from. So let's get to the demonstration. In this demonstration, I'll be covering buy online and pick up in store. I'll be using the demo store that Microsoft provides. It's some code that helps developers understand how to integrate third-party commerce sites with 365 for retail. So the story is I'm flying from Seattle to New York, and I've lost my earbuds. Oddly enough, GoGo Wi-Fi is working, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the Contoso store and buy some earbuds. Now I know there's a Fabricam store in New York, so they're affiliated companies, and I'll go ahead and place an order to pick up there. I'll add these to my cart and start the checkout process. We'll indicate we want to pick up in New York. And I'll add my test credit card info. And check out. So web store orders are asynchronous, so I'll have to go ahead and run the P job for those that are familiar with the P job. This pulls retail transactions from the various store databases. And we've run the P job, and now I have to synchronize the orders, which creates the sales orders from the retail transactions. So let's take a look at what we got. Julia wasn't the salesperson. And you can see we have an unconfirmed order. Here's our retail order. Let's look at the details. So one thing you'll notice is it has a DOM status of not processed. We'll talk about that in another demo. But you'll see the fulfillment status, the retail fulfillment status is accepted. There are some things you can do from HQ. You can reject the fulfillment. You could actually modify the order, but in this case we won't. So we've landed in New York, and we're going to stop by the Fabricam store and pick up our earbuds. And here are our order fulfillment buttons. So I'm going to find an order for pickup. And you can see here's our order. There's one on the order, just some order information, and what we have in inventory. So you have to know how to read the screen. There's actually 9 physical inventory with 1 reserve, that one being this order here. So let's go ahead and I'll show you what our options are. You can go through a pick process, but we're just going to go ahead and pick up the order. And because it was a demo, we actually didn't pay by credit card, so the order still has a balance to be paid. Let's go ahead and pay that balance. And I'm on my way with my new earbuds. That concludes this demonstration. In this demonstration, we'll cover buy in store and ship from different store. We'll take a look at how distributed order management brokers the order and how we can fulfill it from a different store. So the story is, I'm at the Fabricam store in New York, and I asked the salesperson about some sunglasses that I'm interested in. So the salesperson's going to do a lookup in the system, and indeed these are the sunglasses I like. So the salesperson's going to take a look to see what's in inventory. Let's sort this, and we can see in our current store we have 8, but they happen to be in the back, and we've got 10 on the way. We've got 20 in the East Coast warehouse with 25 on the way, and 7 in Houston with 10 on the way. Since I'm not interested in carrying these sunglasses around with me, I'm going to have the salesperson deliver these to my home in Seattle. So we'll select our New York store here. My customer information is already in the system since I've already done business with Fabricam. So let's go ahead and add me to the order. And we want to ship this. So we'll go ahead and ship our customer order. We could change the origin. One thing you'll notice here is you don't see the distribution centers. So you can explicitly indicate a store to ship from, but at the moment you can't indicate a distribution center. This isn't an issue because the distributed order management process is going to broker the order anyway. And because of that, our salesperson isn't going to change anything. We're just going to leave this as default to ship from the New York store. We'll pick the standard shipping method. And as a service, they're going to ship me the sunglasses for free, so I won't add a shipping charge, and I want those to ship today. So here we can see we have our order. Let's go ahead and complete this. And our order is in the system. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple things here. Let's look at order fulfillment. You'll see the orders in the system, and it's defaulted to ship from our New York warehouse. Let's take a look at inventory. You also see that our inventory changed in New York. Our inventory went down to 7 with 1 reserved. Before it was 8 and 0 reserved. That's a result of this order that we just put in the system. So let's see what we've got in 365. And Julia's working at the headquarters, but we're going to take a look at everybody's orders. And you can see we've got an unconfirmed order in the system. And this is our order. So let's take a look at the order details. So you'll notice the order's been accepted. Dom hasn't looked at it yet. And we can see it's designated to ship out of the New York warehouse. So let's take a look at distributed order management. What this workspace is telling me is we've got an order in the system that hasn't been looked at by Dom. It's an open order. These are my historic fulfillment runs. So let's go ahead and run Dom. So we'll run the processor job. The job is designed to run in batch. I'll pause while it's running. Dom is done processing our orders. And if we take a look, we'll refresh our window here. Actually, these tiles don't refresh frequently, but we can now see we have one unprocessed line. The order's still open. Here it is. Let's take a look at our details now. And you can see that the DOM status is successful, so we can see that DOM has successfully brokered the order. And if we take a look here, we can see that DOM has changed the warehouse to Houston. So the reason is Houston is a few hundred miles closer to Seattle than New York is. Let's just take a look at what our fulfillment plan looks like. So you can see here the fulfillment plan. So this just gives you a status of what DOM had done to the order. And you'll see that our order, which was originally scheduled to ship out of New York, is now designated to ship out of Houston. Go on down to Houston and let's take a look at our order and go ahead and fulfill it. So if we take a look at our notification window here, we'll see we've got an order for shipment. I'll go ahead and select that. And here's the order that we had placed in New York and then was brokered to ship from here in Houston. You can take a look at some details about the order, who placed the order, where it came from. We can take a look at our inventory. So the way this reads is there's 7 in inventory with 1 that's been reserved to this order. Some of our options here are we could reject the order. The system right now is configured to automatically accept all orders. We could modify it. We could go through a picking process and a packing process and then subsequently ship it. If the order's been rejected, Dom will pick it up and try to rebroker it until you hit a preset limit based on your rules. But let's go ahead and ship this order. Not much to it. We've just shipped the order. Now that we've shipped our order from Houston, let's take a look at what the order looks like in 365. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the order details. You'll see the order's been invoiced, the fulfillment status is invoiced, and the DOM status is successful. So that concludes this demonstration.